So, welcome to our talk with Juliana Loh. We are so honored to have her here today to tell us about her artwork and career in XR. And my name is Eileen McGivney. I help organize this Excite Speaker Series along with Nathalie Mathe, who is going to be hosting this. So, welcome to our second talk of the year. And I will pass it over to Nathalie.
Yeah, thank you. Um, Great. Good morning. I'm delighted to have Juliana Loh this morning. She's an immersive artist and experience designer who creates emotionally charged, visually captivating XR projects that inspire wonder, awe, and connection. She has been nominated as one of the top 100 women in XR by Women of the Future, and her expertise spans world building, exhibit design, augmented reality installation. She's a master of Google Tip Brush and a leading voice in emerging media. She has exhibited at XR film festivals all over the world, and she serves as a jury member for international immersive competition and festivals. So welcome, Juliana.
Yay!
Happy to have you this morning. Please go ahead.
Hi. It's really nice to be invited. I'm going to go straight to the slides because we don't have a lot of time. I'm going to cover some things that are going to be fun and exciting, okay? All right. So, finding your creative voice by me. And I'm going to start right now. Let's see. Dunk, dunk, dunk. All right. So, I'm going to give you a trip into my own personal journey of creating my own personal voice. And for any of you who feels that you haven't found your own personal style, it takes years. So there's some people who you see like they all seem to be put together, right? They always know what they're always looking confident and they're always looking stylish. But it takes time, and I'm gonna show you how I wasn't able to do that before and how I came into being. Yeah, but you can say, but AI can do everything, right? Well, yes and no. Okay. So that's our little thought on that. So who am I? Yes, immersive artist. We've done a lot of fun little things. Created Jingleville. This is the video that I started with a long time ago, and it really launched my career. So I'm just gonna bring you to this place during the COVID season. So it was during COVID, and I'm gonna bring down the feelings of depression. Right. So I come from an XR background, and so I use affordances like crazy. So being able to know like how do things work, what can you do, what can you pick up, how long does it take? That's the sort of thing that makes me feel excited about the first kind of endeavors that I did, which was something called Jingleville. And it was its own tiny little like standalone destination place in alt space that is no longer in existence. But what it did was it opened up my world and opened up people to understanding that there is a really interesting way of creating work that meshes your artistic, your hands, right? Your human painting with the XR. Okay, so let's go on to the next page. And then I did some really incredible live paintings. So I'm going to show that here. So that's me in the little corner on the left, and I'm really tiny. Do you see me there? Yes. And I'm painting that image of Lord of the Rings on top of the screen. And it was captured by the Connect. Okay. So that's something that I did. There was like games and music conference. My friend Patrick Penfeather invited me to do that. And at first I started out as being a live art painter because, okay, it's neat. I can do it. I can do it in front of people. And then I realized that I don't really like to do live art painting. I mean, as much as I enjoyed it, and there was lots of people. In fact, there was, I think, 2,500 people at that gathering. I felt that I needed to move more toward the interactivity part. So there, okay, how do you Oops, I am stuck. Why am I stuck? Guys, one. Oops. Alright.
Maybe it's the video. You need to skip the video.
I would love to. I'm trying to get on to the next slide. Ah, there you go. Okay, so then okay, I'm gonna put all right, so knowing your voice, finding out what you're really good at. I've had a background of doing fine art for like 20 years. So, and I've also done a lot of sound design, which, when I connected all of these things together, I realized that I could do something like this. This came out in like 2020, and it really defined anything and everything that I would do in the next 6 years. So I also have a games background. So here we go. This is like one of the flagship models that I painted. So uh, painting in tilt brush is really, really hard. It's a lot like painting the duct tape. But this is during the COVID times, right? And so I had a lot of time in my hands, and for me, because I didn't have a lot of family or friends, my whole entire being went into imaginative space. Oh, okay, we're going to end in a few minutes, but I'm just going to move this forward. So I started creating a lot of images that people whom I hadn't seen, and reflections of society and culture, like people from India, people from Asia, people from, so all sorts of different places. So I was really, really concentrating on putting out a product that showed diversity and inclusion, right? People who've never had the opportunity to actually be in an XR display above all things. Okay. All right, so let's stop that. And hopefully, oops.
Juliana,
Yeah.
I think you should mute the videos because otherwise your voice get chopped.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Like yeah, if you talk while the video is playing, it's kind of competing the two sounds apparently.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
maybe you totally mute it instead of just like
yes.
yeah.
Oh, so nobody could hear the music or anything. Okay, I will remember that then. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna play this one. Then I use what I learned uh in the first couple of times that I had, started putting work out, and then I created something for the BRC VR people, the Burning Man Festival, the physical one, but the virtual one, and created this incredible world that won a bunch of awards. And I'm gonna try to play this here.
All right, everyone,
Without
ready
the
two. So we will be showcasing everyone
okay,
dancing
hold on a
at
second.
BRCBR and all of you on Zoom. Don't touch your screens as our engineer
Okay,
Jake
I'm
will take
just
care of that.
going
And everyone at BRCBR,
to
go into the purple now. Can't believe I just said that too. All right, everyone, let's get up on your feet and let's welcome the amazing DJ Illuminati. I love you all. Let's dance. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
okay. Okay, I think we could stop that. All right, so the reason why this was oops. The reason why this was particularly important is because it gave people an understanding of what what a VR space could look like. So there were some instances where I created like gamified versions of what could be done, storytelling and being able to bring in things like masks, all the things that we know and we're used to now, but wasn't available so much back then. So being in a pioneering spirit means not knowing where you're going or what you're doing, but being able to open yourself to uncharted territories. And then you never know when something's going to work or not until years later when you're like, oh, everybody's doing it now. So that's a good thing. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to my creative voice. Woo, pioneering what VR could be. And in the first couple of years for me, it was more about experimentation because I didn't really know my voice. Like what did that look like? And what did people kind of know me for? So I actually spent a lot of time in hibernation because all I did was I concentrated on my art. And so that I didn't look at pop culture so much, I didn't look at anything else, but tried to figure out based on, my own history of working, what I could possibly bring to the table. So as I mentioned, I wasn't really interested in doing live art painting, although I got a lot of people asking me to do that. So sometimes finding your own creative voice means knowing what you like and what you don't like, whether it's maybe lucrative or not. And that's a hard thing to do, right? So so then so I designed the world's museums and I had a lot of fun doing the most silliest things because there are a lot of changes and challenges going on during the COVID time that we were trying to address, right? So there were a lot of movements happening. And, one of the things that artists are here, I believe, on this planet to do is to have a critical voice, is to be able to think about the world in a way that asks us or challenges us to make it better. That I believe that that's the reason why some of us are born the way we are. And I think many artists are very sensitive. And so it takes time and it'll take you time actually, for the information to come through and sit within you and then find a place to express itself. So I want you to have so much patience for finding that voice. Okay? Yay. Let's see. So I really concentrated on what taste was. What did that mean? I have good taste. Do you have good taste? You could tell when someone has good taste because maybe they look nice, right? Or maybe when they make food, there's something about it that just stands out. So you can't buy good taste with money. I just have to tell you that. Because so there's that belief that if you've got a lot of money, you can buy things that are luxurious, but money only buys what you know. Okay. So let me put that in. So I'm saying AI does not have good taste. Okay. So and I like the words taste is not preference. It is not a trend. Taste is the invisible architecture of your creative voice, which just means that every little bit of anything that you can bring to the table in the years that you've been alive contribute to what is good and authentic for you. Okay. AI curates, but your AI collects, but humans curate. And it means that humans have the capacity to find meaning in the work that you prompt, right? So it doesn't really matter whether you prompt like 1,000 pieces. It's that one piece that has meaning and intent that defines your voice and your sense of taste for others to see. So, let's see. Oops, why is it not moving? Oh, yeah, taste is not this. No, 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 no. So I think having the basics, going to Northeastern University, going to the Louvre, going to book readings, literature, like being as wide open as possible exposes you to something that enables you to understand what the culture kind of needs, what voices need to be told, what is meaningful again in the time in which we are living in. And it also means paying attention to what looks good and what smells good, what breathes well, what is enticing and not entirely off-putting. Okay? I know we can always find we know what taste is when we look at it, but more than that, we know what taste is when we see something that's a little dicey. So we don't have to have an exact expression of it or definition of it right now. It's an evolutionary thing. So I'm going to go through these really quickly. So taste is you have the clarity. What am I trying to say in my work? Am I trying to say that the work that I'm doing today offers a reflection of society? Okay, go ahead. No. There's a certain timelessness and honesty. Is there purity? Are you being authentic when you design your work, or are you copying? Not good. So and I'm going at it pretty fast for you. There's a cultural curiosity, meaning, are you able to look around and kind of have critical thinking? Like you want to figure out and reflect what the world is like. So what is the world like? Are you going to look at something and think about it again and reference it? Well, and maybe look it up and research it because, could be AI hallucinating. I know we all go through AI pictures every day. So that's the one thing, like being able to sit down and kind of go, what am I looking at? And I'm curious. Have that curiosity be your North Star and let it guide you. So your mastery of content, knowing how to juxtapose creation elements, intention, and all those visual arts that comes before you that you'll probably learn at Northeastern University. And you have to have like a little bit of a moral compass and then know when to add things and the worst thing, know when to take it away. Right. So that's the hardest thing because everybody's like, oh, you just throw everything in. I'm going to put this draft and put this proposal and then it becomes something that exudes no taste. Okay, got it. And then you got to find people who just love you to bits. So one of the persons who just helped me in my career because I wasn't able to get a lot of attention because I don't like going out into public, actually. And there's a lot of different things like that Amy Peck, and we all know Amy, many of us who are in the XR industry, she came around and said, Juliana, your stuff is amazing. And sometimes people have to tell you your stuff is amazing because you won't know it because you're going to be so focused on doing the work. And that's what we do as creators and designers. We do the work that oftentimes we forget to like move back and kind of go, wait a minute, is it? Is it good? Well, yes. And you need to take that time. And you need to be able to take that time from people who have in a genius level, a brilliant level of taste and command of the industry that you are in. Okay. Oh, then something happened. So in the beginning, like I said, my first phase of doing XR was like fun. It was inventive, it was creative, it was extraordinary, it was curious, I was hitting up everything and it was like fun, fun, fun. Something happened to me that changed my shift and my understanding of what taste was and how I could impact the XR world. So I've been involved in a couple of accidents in my life, but a memory of one of the accidents came back to me when I had an actual near-death experience. And so it was something that, I never forgot, but I never told anybody because I thought, oh my God, people are going to think I'm nuts. But I wasn't nuts. And in the fact that I remember it, 10 years later, and the fact that the memory unlocked, it came up as a result of working in the XR space and allowing the medium to impact me was pretty insightful. So I went to this place, like I won't tell you all the details, but I went to this amazing place and saw what heaven looked like. And it was basically this field of yellow flowers, like many, many, and they swayed in unison to love. And I never forgot that. But I thought one day I'm going to tell people, so I guess I'm doing it now. And yay. So what it did for me was unlocked a different level of myself. And so my creative and sense making went into a place of grounded real life resonance. And so I started thinking more, not with, oh, fun, fun, how can I amuse people? How can I activate that part? But became more reflective. It got a lot deeper and it even went darker. And so these ethos are, intentions are, I wrote something that these things are intentional because this is what we bring to the table. And this is how we guide AI to help us to develop our vision. So this is how you develop taste. You guide by story, ethos, and aesthetic direction. You design by the emotional architecture. How are you going to bring somebody through a product or story? It doesn't really matter. Are you worked in product development too? Or um, you insert the right amount of moments of wonder, and then you start to understand like what can you do to hit the human heart? Because where the emotions lie is where the power begins. And then you figure out what's complex and sensory, and then you decide what is intentional to you and what's authentic to you. And throughout the process, you use AI as your assistant to help you get to that point. So for me, life really sucked, really, really sucked, like 2 years ago. And it's funny that it came like after the vision of heaven and the beauty of heaven. And my mother broke her hip during a really difficult winter. And the what my dad and I went through was absolute chaos because she had Alzheimer's too. And so I brought a team together to take everyone out from the virtual world and into the physical. So we invited people to watch our dance that we designed. I had two incredible dancers. Um, and I'll talk a little bit about them later on. And I'm just going to show, you know what? Let them speak through their dance. So that's Kay on the right and Tomoyo on the left. Right? And dance is expressive. It says more in motion than words could ever do. We use the connect. And as you can see, what their gestures and their movements impact the lightning and the thunder. We had an amazing sound designer come in who composed everything. And we had so many people on the team who made this happen within 4 weeks. Right? And then so I'm going to show you a pits when they're actually talking to each other. And again, I use tilt brush and VR activations as the common thread for all the works that I've been doing. Right. And then we spend a lot of time doing the onboarding and the offboarding process. Right. I'm going to pause right there. And I'm going to say that the story was built over 4-part act that really encapsulated the story of what would you do if you knew what your partner or your friend would go through, what would you do? Would you still stick by them at the end of the day? Like and I mean in the whole complete time of their lives. And so we did it from the back of the end of the story forward, like the time when you split apart. Because I thought I was going to lose my mom at that time. This was happening during the whole hip surgery, and it traveled back to the beginning when they first met. And there were a lot of lessons learned, and there was a lot of reflection, a lot of tears, but it was a very moving um, piece that brought the artwork out from the virtual and that enabled people to, for the first time, to project themselves on performers and to understand and to realize and to perhaps identify their own emotions. So that was me, I was sitting down and my world was a mess, absolute chaos. And I was going through everything, every emotion you could have ever imagined, well, in the middle of COVID too, right? So there's doubt, fear, anxiety, and the world was a mess. But I took that really difficult time in my world to move my art into a better space, a place where I could actually create works that related to people, that enabled them to relate to each other. And while I wasn't the best empathizer. When people say empathize, I was more like the person who can sort of analyze the emotions and then write them out or describe them. So that served me better than empathizing in a sense. So that was really important. And I think a lot of people don't realize that there are two ways of understanding how emotions kind of are processed. And then And then Ethan Hawke, right? I'm gonna get this done first. Ethan Hawke said something that really helped me during that time. And everything in your life, and anything that you're going through, and I can't read it because it's got that thing on there. I think you learn through suffering. You suffer tragedy and you learn how to grieve. You suffer loss and you learn how to value. You suffer shame and you learn honesty. Suffering is the greatest teacher. I just wanted to put that out there because nobody talks about that as a good thing, And I don't really mean like, but a lot of artists do because we take who we are and we transform it into something even greater than ourselves. So then, to a year later, I had the opportunity to continue with the process of Alzheimer's because I really got involved in it after my mom got better. Yay! And so, Alzheimer's. So I thought, what if Alzheimer's was your friend? And what if it grew jealous of your good health? How would that look like as another dance performance? And so I did this. So I created a metaphor for Alzheimer's and I brought in a whole bunch of people who were just super talented, mostly all students and recent students. And what was going on during this time in British Columbia were the massive forest fires, right? You all know about that, right? Wasn't that awful? And so my idea was if you talk about Alzheimer's to people, nobody's going to want to know, right? It's like, oh my God, oh, also, right? But if you take something and you create the metaphor of like, this is how it began and this is how it went through, then they can understand what it means. And it had every impact on the product design that we were creating at that time. So you get buy-in by using story to create metaphors. That's what happens in XR technology. And then I broke down the scenes, which I don't have time to talk about right now. Um, but we will at some point, right? I think not later on, and we might come back to it. But I wanted to show you what the documentary was like, what it felt like to be on the set. Okay, and now I'm going to show you what the whole entire process looked like and what the show looked like, okay? So we've got people in mocap suits. We've got people who are affecting the imagery within the actual design itself, like the forests. We've got like we've got a climax happening where the forest begins very happily, really nice, relaxing, and then it goes through the difficult parts of Alzheimer's. When you've got that relationship pull where the Alzheimer's is like, I'm jealous of you. I want to harm you now, and that push and pull between relationships that happen all the time. We have girlfriends, we have boyfriends, we've got, that's just our life. And then going on into the end where we finally find a way to find peace and reconciliation. And that's really interesting. I'm going to show it to you as quickly as I can.
And if you don't talk over the video, you can leave the sound on. It's just like
Oh,
up to you, but like, yeah.
okay. All right, so we're gonna get to it. It should be it's done in 7 minutes. I got this all planned out. I'm just gonna go right up to the part that's kind of interesting. Here we go. This is the forest fire scene that we all remember from last year. Okay. All right. So I'm just ending. I couldn't get back to the other one, but I finished it off with the ending of the scene because it shows very clearly what has been done in the mocap technology. And it also what you all didn't see, but maybe you saw a little bit in the background, is that we also had something called a VTech, which is called invisible technology, which means that you can take your hand and move around the actual it's called invisible UI, and it affects whatever you see on the screen as well. So we were experimenting with about 5 different modalities at the same time because we were crazy. But we needed to do that because, and a lot of times people who work in product design and um, brand design, they usually go to artists to find out a vision of what can be done. And a lot of times I'm like, maybe not in this case, but I'm given products to just play with to see what we can do with it using my voice, my sense of taste, and what I bring to the table. So in that particular case, it worked out fabulously. We were able to implement some of the work with Professor Steve DiPaolo here, who demonstrated how you can use things in AI to create again works of magic and wonder and awe. Okay, so you can use artwork as a way to be visionary for every industrial design, product design, everything else that you do. And that's why it's really important that we're showing this here. Okay, and let's see. Oh yeah, speaking of AI, then I started getting into AI. I'm not going to tell you whether AI is good and whether it's bad. AI just is. All right. So I did this much earlier. This is a game, right? And then we used the world that I designed for the Lord of the Rings in the symphony virtual art that I created years ago, because the world was so beautiful and so enticing, and people wanted to experience it in different platforms. So I brought this over. I'm just going to
All
be
we have
quiet.
to decide is what to do with the time that is given us.
I will take the ring, though I do not know the way.
One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them.
Look, we are from the mountain, my friend.
Okay. Okay, so we could end there. We didn't. We've got one thing more to show, and then we'll have question and answers, right? Not yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah, go
so
ahead, because we started late, so I hope people can stay a little bit over. But yeah, if you
okay,
want to take a few minutes for the last one, yeah.
all right. Okay, I'll take a few. I'll talk a little. I can't get back to the other screen, I don't think. Okay, yes, I can. And what I it was back in 2022, I believe, and it was AI was just in its infancy. Hadn't used Midjourney. I painted everything by myself originally, and that's one of the things that I do. I'm known for my original works. And so, but I started looking at Midjourney kind of thinking, how can it help me be my assistant? And at one point, almost like 15 hours into a painting, and you're in a headset and you're pretty much painting away. I was so tired, I thought, what am I going to do? Went to Midjourney, looked at some stuff. It was terrible at that time, you know. But what I did receive was an inkling of an idea that I was able to create this beautiful, on the right-hand side, this beautiful area where ships move. So, and you heard all the people talking? Yeah, that was me. That was talking over and over and over. But using AI to make me sound like, um, like Gollum, right? So that was me, and it was again really bad back then, but who cares? You know, we experimented, we tried, and it really didn't matter because it was all about finding out whether or not you can create something that, again, you can make people relate to. And typically they will use their visual, but it's a lot about hearing, everyone. It's about hearing. So I want to put that out there. And let me see. Good. Yeah, I could actually end. All right. So yeah, I might actually go to that scene that Midjourney helped me to understand. Here it is, coming up. So the background was done in AI. Going through, getting my ding, looking at the volcanoes. Let's go a little further. I'm back out in, where am I? Oh yeah, that's, da-da-da. I'm so fast, I'm sorry. We're gonna move into, let me find out. Oh, there it is. There you go. So that picture right there, can I hold it? That was based off Midjourney right there. And it really wasn't anything to see, but in the whole scheme of things, it was just enough to to create some sort of inspiration. So then, again, I'm going to show you one last piece of where I use AI. And I do use AI because it's here and it helped me to do. So I used to also be an animator, and I know how much work it takes to do things. And again, having taste is being able to go back into the work that you've done before and all the things that you've ever done, like speech writing, carpentry. What did I do? I fed snakes in a zoo one day. That was all my job, was to feed snakes. But all those funny little things that you do over time that sometimes you think make no sense, all of a sudden come together when you're creating XR. So here we go. Okay, that was good. We had a little moment to look at that. Did you see the fluid motion, the way the artistry did, right? It took like, oh, almost, it felt like 1,000 prompts to get that. Okay. So I'm not saying AI is easy. It's not. There's so many challenges. And I've got a lot of movies that I've done with actual human beings, but at the risk of scaring you all off, I'm not going to show them. So what I'm going to say is that your creative voice in the world really matters. One, you have to be okay with experimentation. Invest, express, don't imitate. All right. And so the thing about AI is that you've seen, like, there's tons of stuff, and some of it's good, some of it's really bad. So we don't even know, but it's just stuff. It doesn't breathe life. And so you're the one who's got to do that for yourself. Hobbies are the new currency. Try everything, right? I've never knit before. I did it for the first time. I'm like, how does this knitting help me? Well, you know, I had to understand the routine of doing something to make a stitch, right? That I couldn't figure it out until I started painting. I'm like, oh my God, I'm knitting. I'm actually knitting. Shadow puppets. I didn't, I played with shadow puppets for a while and then was asked to do some creative direction for a show where I came up with the vision of using shadow puppets, right? So in a big screen, again, using the Connect and all sorts of different things that seem to work quite well. And emotional intelligence, I cannot say this enough. Learn it, learn it, learn it. What we've got how-tos, we've got kind of whys, but we don't know how to relate to each other. We don't know what conflict resolution looks like anymore. We're so focused on our screens that we haven't figured out how to come out and talk to each other. We don't even communicate. Have you ever gone to a restaurant and seen families all just, staring at their screen? They're not eating, or are they eating? Or maybe they're eating, but this is a time of change. And I'm saying the next generation, the generation that's coming up, I really love you all because you have a kind of sensitivity of what's happening in the world that the rest of us don't really have. And each generation is made for a specific purpose. The folks in the 1950s are, they're meant for to physically create, what America and pop culture might look like, right? And then you and then in the 1970s, and I'm a history major, history nerd. 90s, where we brought up and we celebrated space, right? And so we opened up our worlds to various facets of our evolution. And now we're back right now into a place of, with our new generation, of watching them and learning from them, understanding how our world has changed and seeing through their eyes, their sensitive eyes, how we can create things that succeed, not just from a capitalist point of view, right? But from an emotional intelligence point of view. So thank you. You guys matter. And we are living in a world where, yeah, trust is scarce, right? So I don't know whether, look, I don't even know, Natalie, whether you're actually Natalie or whether you're an AI bot. I'm not sure about that. Right. So, finding your voice enables you to first trust yourself. Trust everything about you. You're really coming back to the when people say love yourself. I hate that term, love yourself. No, it means to to honor your memories, to honor your experiences, good, bad, sad, ugly, whatever the case, to be able to share the things that are kind of even precious to you, like when I talked about my near-death experience, and to really, really offer the world a flavor of what you think humanity tastes like. Speaking of taste, courage is everything, right? And at the very end, for me, my dream of all dreams was to be a cinematographer and a film director. But I couldn't go there. But now I can, right? I get to be, for the very first time in my life, I get to be a film director, and I get to bring AI pieces, fit them together. I get to do my work in all sorts of different modalities and platforms. And I'm very, very excited and happy for it. So this is your opportunity, basically. And so at the very the end of the day, find people like you guys, your teachers, your mentors, every to support you, because without groups like XR Women, XR Social Club, which by the way, I believe that Christine was here, was also interviewed by you at some point, Natalie, and she was the person who head up XR Social Club, and I'm one of its members. I feel like an advertisement, but. So thank you for the people, the Spark and Sound group um, and for the people whom I've worked with. And what's really interesting, you can do a lot of different things. I actually remembered while I was doing all my art and everything, working 24/7, I was also doing work for third parties who we were working with Meta. So I was creating a whole bunch of stuff in their particular worlds as well too, concepting, designing. Uh, doing like everything. It was those worlds of crazy world building and being as um being as the most you as you could because there was nothing before
Yeah.
that.
Thank you, Juliana. Can we
Yep.
wrap up here and let people ask questions?
Yep.
Because I'm afraid otherwise we won't have time. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
that's me. That's me. Core values are respect, mediums. I said everything. I'm done. Ta-da! Thank you. We did
No,
it.
thank you really for your courageous and authentic sharing. I think it's important, like you said nowadays, that people stand up and for their values and for authentic interaction with each other. So and like having art, creating art that touches other people. So thank you so much. There was one question, and please put your question in the chat or raise your hand if you want to directly speak up. Um,
Oh, okay.
Victor
I'm
was
back.
asking, in your opinion, does the creative outcome from VR feel different from traditional techniques and tools like Maya or 3ds Max? What new skills do you pick up? And is there more than you hope to learn? Um,
Mhm. My background is Maya and 3D, right? So, but I didn't do that as much. It really helped me when I was doing VR, not so much the painting because I did custom painting, but it helped me to integrate everything together. Like, how does this work? How does the sound work? How do I think in terms of sequences, right? So that's that's the only way I can say it. If you're doing Maya or Blender, you're in a very good position. And what's coming out later on and what I've been working on right now at an exhibit design is augmented reality for space. So, when you think about that, you've got to understand in terms of technology how to optimize all your pieces, right? How to create pieces that the audience can take a look at and recognize right away because they don't have that much time. Um, um, yeah, I hope that answers your question. You've got a really good future ahead of you, in spite of all the things that are happening, because you will learn good taste.
Thank you. Is there any questions directly from the audience? Celia, Eileen, or anyone?
I have one, but I'm just typing it, but I can say it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, great talk. Lovely to hear you talking about working with Steve DiPaolo, my old dear friend, a pioneer in the area as well.
Who's
When I
talking?
was it's Celia, sorry. Celia
Okay. Oh,
Pierce. Is
hey.
my camera on? I
Yes,
turned
Yeah,
my
hi,
yes,
camera on.
Celia.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yes, Steve is
um,
amazing.
yeah, so I when I was watching your work, I was thinking a lot about some of the early pioneers of VR art, particularly Shar Davies. Your work reminds me a lot of her work. And I was just wondering about where you see the current kind of um I don't know how to put this, but like for Shar Davies, right? She was in a very rarefied situation. If you guys don't know who she was a very early pioneer of VR art, but she worked within and was one of the founders of a big 3D software company. So she had extremely rare and exclusive access to this kind of technology. Now that this stuff is more readily available, I'd love to hear your thoughts about sort of where we're at in terms of the range of opportunities for artists that don't have to be in that kind of a privileged position to have access to these tools.
Well, Celia, I think so. You're yourself, you're an artist, right? It's in Decade. I noticed that. So that means that you have access to all sorts of different things, right? Right. And that probably means that you have already experimented and figured out what this can do and that can do, and how you can tell your own story. And what that does is it democratizes what the rest of us can do and work on, so that we don't have to be, in these silos, and that we have the opportunity to speak to each other even more. And I don't mean just in a classroom or just between you and I or just between Steve and I, it's globally as well too. Because, when I think about a global audience, I'm thinking about people who in Africa who use the cell phone more than we do, right? They've got a completely different mindset when using technology, or China, who use cell phones a lot more, right? So then all of a sudden the world opens up where you can create works that are particular and specific to your area, so that you're able to tell stories from that place. So I've been a judge and a jury for SIGGRAPH, for what is it? A AIXR, for so many different venues. And what I love about, say, w watching some XR stories, like say from, I think I saw one from Mozambique just recently, was that they use their technology, like their phone, to create the story of buying something at the store. And everything came through the screen, right? It was they had a little video camera, and then they showed whatever was on screen, and they were buying something. But it was so more like, cell phone based, because that's how they lived. And that really impacted a lot of people, because they not just understood, oh, this is just technology. Well, why are they using VR? Why aren't they using AR? Well, it's because their culture kind of revolved around that technology. And
Mhm.
so therefore their story was more specific.
Well, the other thing you just made me realize as I was asking the question and then you started talking, I was like, oh, well, actually, part of the answer to the question is hardly anybody ever got to see Shar Davies' work. Now that we have
Oh,
an install base, right, and we have available tech like phones, more people as audiences have access to the work as well. Thanks so much for answering the question. Great
Yeah.
talk, really inspiring.
thanks. You're
Um,
welcome.
yeah, thank you. There was another follow-up question is, do you think that teaching XR creativity should follow some kind of different approach to education compared to what we do now?
Yes.
That's a loaded, big question.
Yeah. Now I think the one reason why I like you so much, Natalie, is because you are such a pioneer in this field, and I know that, and you did whatever you did I think that the students are very lucky to have you because you have an insight into experience design and accessibility and what it means to create something that connects with students. So from going forward, I'm like I said, we're creating this AR exhibit at a museum, and you can travel through space and you can look at like the Earth and you can look at migration streams and so forth. And so people are already in tune now, not everyone, but they feel somewhat that augmented reality is going to be something that's going to enable us to understand our world even better. Being able to take apart molecules, like, for what did I did before? I painted heads, you know, and I took apart the bones and I showed everybody the muscles because, like I said, I painted nudes for like 20 years, and I was able to just do that very quickly in a way that I would never have been able to do that by, hey, everybody look at this book or look at that video. That would have just been very, very hard. So our education space is going to change very, very much.
Thank you. I think that's a very good conclusion.
Okay,
And
this
I'm
has been
glad we
fun.
made it despite all the technical hoops. And that's exactly how it is in XR oftentimes. Anyway, we didn't even try to be in headsets. So
Oh
just so.
goodness.
Um, Thank you so much. This is being recorded, so we will post it later on, probably after the holidays, with links and everything so you can access Juliana's work. Eileen, do you want to conclude? And
Sure. Yeah, I put a couple of things in the chat as well. So please spread the word about our XR master's and bachelor's programs here for anyone who's interested. And then our
Woo.
next talk will be on January 22nd, hosted by Joel-Edgar from our London campus, from Immerse Me. So looking forward to seeing everybody then. And thank you so much, Juliana. Fantastic talk. We appreciate you.
Oh, thanks. It was great to be here. And thank you everybody for coming. It makes me feel so happy. Thank you.
thank you.